Hey, what's going on, guys? Welcome back to the channel. It's Friday, 28 October 2022, and just wanted to make a video for you guys recapping my initial consultation call that I did with this organization here, Auto Companion. As you can see, the website here, autocompanion.com, yesterday. Did about a 30-minute call with a gentleman named Jaime, who started. My impression was that he singularly started Auto Companion. That might not be the case, but it just sounded like he was sort of a sole founder of the company that operates in the Northeast area, DC, Maryland, Virginia, Pennsylvania, New York, New Jersey, that kind of thing. I came across them while chatting with a representative at Your Advocate Alliance. Of course, I've talked a ton about YAA on this channel. I'm sure you guys are familiar with that by now. But that's how I came to this site. And it was in the process of asking YAA what kind of assistance they give on buying cars or helping me to buy a car, to start working within this business model of loaning cars out to rideshare individuals and listing on Turo and so forth. So that's how I kind of ended up here. Because YAA said, hey, if you want somebody to kind of do the whole thing end to end for you, check out Auto Companion. And that's what I was looking for. I was looking for the least friction in the locating, negotiating, and purchasing of a vehicle. Because those three things I've identified as, for me at least, personally, I'm sure some of you guys out there are better at this than I am in terms of dealing with a dealership or a salesman or whatnot. But for me, that was the most psychologically daunting part of this endeavor, was to actually have to go and deal with a dealership and a salesman and go back and forth and go through all this rigmarole to actually acquire a single vehicle. So in that sense, Auto Companion looked like it would be the perfect fit for me. Like it was 100% tailored to what I was trying to do. So that's why I reached out to them and scheduled a call. They were extremely responsive. Jaime got back to me within a very short amount of time. I texted him and emailed him, and he texted me back, and we set up a call for later in the day. So it all kind of happened within one morning / early afternoon. So let me just go through some of the questions I asked him, some of the information I got from him. I'm going to have some other videos on the viability of using Auto Companion and whether I think I can actually make use of this service for this business model, but that's kind of separate from this. I want to kind of just give you guys a sense of what he told me on the call. So the main question was, how does the process work? I mean, what do I do? What do they do? That kind of thing. And so one thing I was under the impression that got disabused was that I thought it worked where I would reach out to Jaime and say, hey, can you go get me a Nissan Versa, 2020 that I've located at this dealership? Like, I know it's at this dealership. I don't feel like negotiating with them. I don't feel like going there. Can you do the negotiation for me? Can you secure the vehicle, get me a great deal, and close things out? And then I will come and pick up the car, or you can deliver the car to me or whatever. So that was really what I thought Auto Companion did. But when I opened this question up to Jaime and I said, hey, how does the process work? It was like the exact opposite of that. They already have inventory. They've already pre-negotiated deals with dealerships. And they can, if I understand my own notes correctly here, because I kind of glossed over this point, they can obtain vehicles nationwide. So I think in that sense, if you wanted a car that wasn't in this area, they could go get it for you. They could have it in their inventory or acquire it through the inventory they've pre-negotiated with the dealer. But what they do is they sort of have this stock kind of lined up, whether they have to order it and it takes several months to come, or it's already sitting on the dealer's lot. But they have these pre-negotiated price points. Like, let me show you this spreadsheet here. So, for example, looking at the sheet here for, which one is this? Looks like I'm on the BMW East. Yeah, it's BMW East and West on this sheet. And there's obviously other tabs here with all the other vehicles. We can get to this in a moment. But you can see like a 90-plus order on a 2023 230iX Coupe. There's an MSRP and a % off already built in. So My understanding of this sheet is that the MSRP on this coupe is a little over 43,000, but through Auto Companion they get 4% off of that, and then you just get the dock fees, the registration of the vehicle, and the taxes. So much in line with what I've learned from YAA, if I understand YAA's information correctly, is that these cars are not sold with any frills. There's no dealer markups. There's nothing happening to these prices that's not above board. The dock fees, you can't negotiate them. As YAA teaches, if it's not taxable, it's not negotiable. So you can't get rid of the dock fees. You got to register the car and you got to pay tax. So those 3 add-ons to the MSRP make sense. And then, of course, this 4% off of MSRP kind of starts you off with a little bit of a discount, and then, those other things go on top of it. So that's really the deal in terms of getting a vehicle. As you can see, there's all these sheets, and you got Audi, Nissan, Jeep, Ram, Volvo. Okay. So that's the process. Okay. There definitely is zero friction in the sense that if I select one of those vehicles and I say, hey, I want that 230iX BMW, the price is already kind of figured out. Auto Companion takes care of all the tactical work behind the scenes to get that vehicle teed up for me to then sign the paperwork, and the car is essentially delivered to me. Okay, which I thought was kind of interesting. You don't even have to go pick up the car. So it's definitely an interesting process. It's definitely better than anything I've had to do on my own. 100% better than anything I've had to do on my own. And I can see the appeal in it. But as I mentioned a moment ago, because I can't control which vehicle they get for me, there's an issue there. Because I can't say, and I'll address this in other videos, but I can't work backwards. I can't say, hey, what's the best car for Turo? What's the best car for hire car, etc. And then, objectively determine that list and then hand that list off to Auto Companion and say, go get me these cars. They don't work that way. So that was kind of a big revelation in terms of, what they do and that sort of thing. I had some other questions teed up, like, what if they can't find a deal? That question was irrelevant because they already have found the deals. I also have here, what if I find a deal and I back out? There is no such thing. You've already decided you're going to buy the car when you go into it. I guess you could still back out of it, but it's like, it isn't like a search mission where you tell them to go search for a car, and while they're searching for you, back away. The car's already found. So if I go to them and say, hey, go get me this Nissan Altima 2022, it's presumed I want that car, and I'm going to sign the paperwork and I'm going to buy that car. So backing away from that transaction would still be technically possible, but I would have already paid the fee at that point for Auto Companion to initiate that transaction. Therefore, I'm not going to get that fee back. I asked them, can I buy through an LLC? They said, no problem. They do that. Can I buy in bulk? Can I tell Auto Companion, go get me all 3 of these Altima S's? And he said, yeah, they can do that, but trying to get any further discount for doing so, like, hey, get me these 3 Altima S's and give me a bigger discount than you can already get me, is not going to happen. And he said the reason is, in normal times, because dealers just want to move units, that might be possible. But because of the current conditions, a dealer that already has very low supply and has to maximize their earnings on that very low supply, they're not going to be in a hurry to dump all that inventory at a big discount. They want to try to find that retail buyer who's uninformed and uneducated. I mean, this is kind of like what I was learning about from Phil Nader at YA when I did the October 17th consult with him, is that just because I'm informed and just because I've worked out the numbers and just because I know what the car really should cost doesn't mean the dealer has to sell it to me. They can wait for, person X to come along who doesn't know jack shit and just sell them the car at a high markup, because that person did no homework and no research and doesn't know what they're doing and doesn't know how to negotiate or whatnot. Now, that's a gamble for the dealer, right? Like, if I'm a willing buyer who's on the lot, is it easy to let me go and wait for another person to come on the lot? Obviously, they have a decision to make there too. But anyway, to the point here, going in and saying, get me all these Altima S's and knock off more than the 7.5%, that's not going to happen right now. So he definitely pounded that point home. I did ask him about Kias and Hyundais, which are again, this is when I wasn't sure exactly how the process worked, but I was like, you can't go get Kias and Hyundais, and he was like, no, we don't do those two cars. And the tough thing about that is I noticed that the Kia, there are several Kia models and some Hyundai models that pop up on all these platforms that are very popular for Uber drivers, for use on Turo. So they just don't deal with those. As a one-off, I did ask him about Mercedes G-Wagons because I know that I don't think it's listed here. Let me see. Hold on a second. They have the Mercedes here. No. Okay. Yeah. They said they do Mercedes, but in their available stock here, they don't have any Mercedes. But I asked him about buying Mercedes G-Wagons, and he was like, you can forget about it. Those are going to be marked up like 20 or 30 grand. So you're going to wait forever for it, and you're not going to get anywhere near MSRP or a discount on those. And in asking him that question, I asked him about the whole idea of the 6,000 pound vehicle rule. The bonus depreciation. Buy a 6,000 pound plus SUV that you can use for business purposes, and then enter it into service and do the bonus depreciation. He was familiar with that. He understood that strategy. We touched on that briefly, but it just was more of a theoretical type of thing. And I think that was it. Yeah, as far as their fee goes, $599 for any car except Jeep. So you can see there's the $599 broker fee. For Jeep, it's actually, hang on a second, let me slide over here, $499. But every other model is $599. So there was that. He said, to initiate moving forward on this, I would just come into their website, go to the buy tab, and then submit an inquiry. And you can choose finance, lease, or cash. So you have some options there. So I haven't used this yet, guys. If I do use this, I'd probably make a longer, more specific video about it. They do have a calculator here for calculating lease payments. They don't have, I don't know if you can see it well with my face here, but behind here, there's a finance and a cash option that'll eventually be, that will eventually pop up there. So that's how I would kick the process off, is I would put in the inquiry. I would choose from, what they had probably on that list. If I chose something that wasn't on that list, they're probably going to come back and say it's not available. So, for example, they have Toyota and Mercedes here, but when you look at the list, they do not have Toyota and Mercedes here at the bottom. So that was it. I'm actually going to I had some notes here, guys, about some of the comments that Jaime made to me about, because I told him what the business model was. I told him about HireCar and Turo and everything I was trying to do there. And he had some war stories about that I'm going to actually put in a separate video. And you guys can check that out as far as what he's heard about HireCar and what he himself experienced on Turo. But that's kind of the overview, guys. If you have a specific question, if you're wondering about something I mentioned here or something he might have said on the call, just drop a comment below. I'll respond to you guys there, or make a video about it if it warrants an entire video. But that was a recap, kind of full recap based on the notes here that I took with Jaime on 27 October about Auto Companion. So thanks for checking this out, guys. Like I said, drop me a comment below, subscribe, hit the subscribe button. More videos coming as I work through this, guys. You're literally watching me figure this out in real time. So appreciate you guys checking in on the channel.